Hello and welcome back to Silk's Detailing. Now this is a first for me in the way of this gorgeous Yamaha MT10 ball bag saddle. Now as this is my first bike detail, I wanted to find out the do's and don'ts before undertaking this challenge, and I actually found out most of the processes are exactly the same as it would be for a car. After speaking to the owner and finding out what areas could be more sensitive or at risk, I made a start with a quick rinse down before starting the more dirty areas, the chain and the wheels, which would be the same process as it would be for a car. So making a start with probably one of the dirtier areas on a bike, it's the chain. Now this chain itself, although not too dirty, I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to chuck any dirt all over these wheels once they were clean. As you can see, they're this bright fluorescent colour, which contrasts nicely against the Nardo grey panels of the bike, yet show up all the dirt. So it's quite important that I made sure there was nothing loose going to come off this chain once I made these wheels nice and clean again. Now onto the wheels themselves, and although it wasn't too dirty, there was a couple of things which needed some attention. So first of all, we're hitting them with a dedicated wheel cleaner. This is just from Auto Smart, and we're starting with a Valet Pro soft hogshair brush. We then move on to an Alien Magic hogshair brush, which is slightly longer with the bristles, just to get into the back of each of these spokes. Now you can't see it from here, but they're actually open backed spokes, so it's quite important to get right inside there to get the dirt. Now what aggravated me with these wheels was, on the actual rim, there's like a secondary rim. You almost think it's like an extra tyre, but it's just a build up of tar, which obviously had to be tackled. And then the most aggravating point of all with these wheels was when the wheel weight's been changed, the sticky pads have been left, and obviously they look manky on these bright fluorescent wheels, so they had to come off. Now we're talking sensitive areas, and I don't mean your crown jewels. So at the start I mentioned that I asked the owner what areas do I need to be concerned around or be conscious of, and we discussed that the gauge cluster and between the headlights is where the air intake is. So the best thing to do, put a bag on it. Now this is actually the first coating of snow foam which I put on. And as you can see, I haven't blasted it on, I've done it in little spits and phases just to be conscious around where I'm putting it and making sure it's getting an even coverage across the bike without soaking too much. And here it is just dwelling. And like I said, I put one coat to loosen the dirt, and then I put another coat on, which I haven't recorded a rinse or a secondary coat, but we now go on to with the second coat being on the bike, and we start the actual agitation. Now I didn't agitate on the first one because I didn't want to rub in any dirt and potentially cause any swirling or scratches onto the bike. So we rinsed it off, second coat. Hopefully this has reduced a lot of the damage and contamination on the bike, allowing us to have more of a contact with the bike. Now at this point, me and the bike have been together for a little while. We've got a little bit more closer, a little bit more friendly, and now things start getting a little bit more intimate. That brush goes in places I never thought that was going to end up going, but great little application from the EZ brush, getting into these nice little areas just around that suspension spring right in the centre there. Oh, penetration. So now with the Vican soft bristle brush, I'm just tackling the underside of the seat here, above the rear wheel. Obviously this gets covered in muck. And actually what I did find is there's more build up of tar across the back end of this bike than there was dirt. A lot of tar removal was used on this episode. So the other precaution I took with this bike, now my pressure washer, I can't control the amount of pressure which is coming out. So what I did is I used the wide white 40-degree nozzle, and I just stepped further back than what I normally would have done, just to reduce the amount of pressure across different areas of the bike which the water was being applied to, just to help reduce the amount of damage potentially being caused through the water. And onto the contact wash. So I've still got the two buckets, they've both still got grit guards, and that is a Clean Career soft wash mitt. So we're still using the same principle as would be with a car to reduce the risk of damage. So continuing with our safe wash processes, the same we'd use on a car. We are using the blow air dryer just to reduce the amount of contact with the actual bike itself, but also making sure we're getting rid of any loose water which is maybe sitting and dwelling, which could potentially get into any sort of electrical circuit, cause any damage to the bike. But also having a thoroughly dry panel to apply any sort of polishes or protection at a later stage. So onto these sticky pads. So this is AM Details tar and glue remover, and this took a bloody age to get rid of these, but it was so important to get rid of them. They just spoiled the look of the bike so much. They were so obvious. Now you can't quite make it out, but just on this rim, which I'm giving a good finger in now with the microfiber cloth and the AM Details tar, there is that secondary rim of blackness, which is a build-up of tar, so this had to go. So we're coming together now, so final stage of this detail, and we're on to dressing the plastics. Now when I started I didn't actually think they looked that bad, but once they were dressed, this is GM Details Onyx tar and trim dressing, they really did pop in the sunlight. I was really surprised at how well it really did pop, how much the product really just emphasised the darkness of that plastic. Now as a kid growing up, I kind of wanted to be a magician or learn some tricks, and this is the best I could come up with. Before your eyes you'll see this kind of dull sort of faded grey plastic just become enhanced with that GM Details Onyx dressing. Now on a bike, I believe the seat is probably one of the most overlooked areas. It tackles all sorts of weather conditions, so I felt it was really important to focus some time and energy into really giving it a good scrub and deep clean, and then some protection afterwards. So to start with, we have gone for the Carbon Collective Revived Leather Foam and the hexagonal brush. We scrubbed that into the actual leather itself. Now I've hit this twice before the actual final coat has gone on. And within, after giving it a good clean and scrub, I've then gone with Alien Magic Luxury Car Care Product Leather Conditioner, just to give it some sheen and suppleness. Following on from that, I've then put some Mad Cow Leather Balm over the top, just to seal in that condition and just keep that leather supple and protected against all the elements of different weather and, of course, the rider's arsehole. The thunderstorm this aquaprovic noise cannon produces while being spiritually ridden means when it pulls up, you're going to look at it and you want to know where that noise has come from. So out with the metal polish to make sure this noisemaker is worthy of the attention it's going to get. So after deciding I don't really have a machine which is suitable for polishing, not in such a small area, I decided to just use a hand polish. So we're using the Auto Gleam Super Resin Polish just to help fill in any of the imperfections which are already in the paint, and just to help protect it slightly more from any future scuffs from any clothing which might be draped across the panels. And on to the LSP, and I've decided to go with a hard Canuba wax just to try and enhance the gloss which is already there from that Nardo Grey type colour, and really just add some protection against the elements of this summer and any future spirited drives this bike potentially will be going on.